So the breaking news is that Julen Lopetegui has officially been sacked by West Ham, but the truth behind it all is far more complicated than that. Graham Potter has signed his contract, but nothing has changed since, hopefully if you watch the channel regularly, since the video you watched that I put up early this morning. Nothing's changed. That was all agreed last night. He went to the London Stadium to do his ceremonial signing of the contract. You know, they sit there with their pen and they pretend to sign a contract. Truth of the matter is the legalities were all done a long time before. Potter has gone to London Stadium to do that stuff for obvious reasons. They didn't want him sort of crossing paths. That would have been awkward, wouldn't it? Ooh, that awkward moment where Potter walks past Lopetegui. Lopetegui went in this morning expecting to be sacked. Very early this morning. It didn't happen for obvious reasons. Now, we've had some contact not with Potter himself, obviously, so not with Lopetegui himself, but with sources and all the rest of it. As of 2 p.m. today, Lopetegui had not been sacked. The statement came out at 3:15. Players usually leave training at 3 o'clock. At some point between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock, Lopetegui was sacked. Now, I don't know if there was enough time within that period to do a confidentiality agreement or anything like that. I doubt it very much. I think you're going to see stuff coming out, probably from Guillaume Balaguer. It's not going to reflect particularly well on Tim Steidten. Don't overly dwell on that now, because we do actually have a new manager in place. He's just not been unveiled yet with whatever they're going to do, the bubbles and Hogwarts and what I was going to say, the Polar Express. That's something different. It'd be there, magic wands and massive wizard sleeves and what's the day, Quidditch and all that. I doubt they will. Would they dare? Probably not. I'd do it though, given enough time with that AI tool that generates all these false images. So Potter's in place. Not only that, we've had some contact with the club today. It's quite ironic because it said the statement on Lopetegui's sacking is what you would expect. It's a copy and paste job. The club would like to thank Lopetegui and his coaching staff, blah, blah, blah. The club will be making no further statement. Well, they won't officially. The press department won't, but there's people within the club who are talking, which is good. I'm pleased to hear it. Otherwise, we'd have nothing to talk about on a bloody video, quite frankly. That being said, West Ham have made such a shambles of this Lopetegui stuff, and it ain't good, right? That they'll always give you something to talk about. I often wonder, what must it be like to do like whatever Brentford chat is? The people who are doing the Brentford videos, they must have none of this stuff. They must. Thomas Frank's doing well. Oh yeah, we're probably going to bring in some Danish midfielder in the window for about 8 million, who's going to turn out to be really good. And we won again at the weekend. And no controversy at all. The club run really well. The stadium works. They got nothing to talk about. I mean, but they got a well-run club. West Ham will always provide you with this sort of stuff, and so it continues. Potter, we have been told, has got an influence on the January transfer window. So Potter is having some input. The reason that the talks have taken so long over the last 2 or 3 days have not just been the term of the agreement, which we discussed in the video this morning. It's not just been all, contract. In many respects, his wage was the easiest thing to sort out. There's been a lot of talk about signings, about bringing people in. Potter's very much made it aware of where the deficiencies lie in the squad. Look, I did all this update over on Patreon earlier on. I've been doing loads of updates on Patreon all day. I've had another couple of exclusives over there. If you fancy joining up, we've got a free trial. Have a look. If you like what you see, then carry on, stick with us. Links in the description below, patreon.com/Hammers Chat. There's so much going on now. I've got my phone switched on at the moment because, honestly, things are just changing at the moment all the time. All the time things are changing. Look, with regard to, let's just do a Lopetegui first. He did turn up with the best of intentions. He thought he was going to get sacked early on, as I mentioned. He didn't expect to take training today. He really, really didn't. West Ham needed to have a training session. Let's be fair, we got today and we got tomorrow before the FA Cup clash. Potter is taking training tomorrow. He's taking training tomorrow. He's going to be manager ahead of the FA Cup clash. Again, I announced that earlier on Patreon this morning, just lunchtime, something like that anyway. With regard to, so look, all the stuff with Lopetegui, all the stuff with Steidten, that is all going to come out in the wash. But I'm certainly got a level of sympathy for him. I think Lopetegui has deserved, I thought, to lose the West Ham job. He just didn't to lose it like this. He's actually, all things considered, he has been very, very dignified all throughout. That must have been hard taking that training session today. Must have been really hard because all those players knew that he wasn't going to stay. And he actually said some of his goodbyes last night, actually. The Lopetegui has kept his counsel really well. Even earlier on in the season, would you remember when those leaks came out from Fabrizio Romano and all of that stuff? They were coming out and they were saying that that Steiten had basically he had warned Sullivan against appointing Lopetegui for all of that sort of stuff. When all the leaks were coming out, Lopetegui stayed quiet, and he stayed quiet. I don't think he's going to stay quiet for too much longer, although the words won't be coming from his mouth necessarily. We'll see. Maybe we'll do an interview, a YouTube interview or something with Guillaume Balaguer. If it happens, it will be explosive. In terms of Potter, I think all I want to say now on Potter is I don't want to be that guy on YouTube that's just moaning about the manager. So I'm going to get behind him now. It's as simple as that. There's no point me constantly saying, if you watch the channel regularly, you know who my favourites were, who I wanted to get the job. They haven't got the job. So now I need to look for positives and look for what Potter can do. And I don't believe that he is the Messiah, but he does have some qualities. So I'm looking, as I mentioned when we did our cup of tea last night, I'm looking for him to get the defenders playing out from the back. I do think he'll attack well. I do think we'll have more possession. I do think we'll play a prettier brand of football. I really, really do. And I'm going to just put my reservations to one side and just hope for the best and actually, try and allow myself to look forward to it. Because I do think if he is able to flex his muscles, if he is able to get his way, if he is able to bring in a few players who will help complement his style, then I think that's a good thing. I do think we have players there. We've got the ball carrying with the ball playing centre halves. We've already got them in there. We've got certainly at least one technical fullback there. We've got someone in Wan-Bissaka who's going to be really, really good as well. I think this guy could quite possibly. I'm interested to see what he does with Somerville. I think he'll like Soler. It's probably not the video to be, there's enough misery at West Ham today to be talking about who I think is going to suffer. But what do I know? I got it wrong when Lopetegui came in. There was a couple of players I thought were going to be out on their ear and they weren't anyway. They seem to feature relatively regularly for Lopetegui. So I do believe that we've got some technical players who I think Lopetegui could certainly... who Graham Potter could get... Honestly, I'm getting all me Potters, me Steitens and me Lopeteguis mixed up. So you're going to have to work that out for yourself earlier on in the video. It's actually been a really, really long 2 or 3 days. And I've got the Lurgy as well. And it's not finished yet because Potter is going to be announced. And I do, whilst I do not like the way the club have handled all of this, really, really badly, as I say, I want to look forward now. I think it's been a miserable old season. I've not enjoyed watching West Ham play this season, so I'm sort of trying to look forward now and hoping, for the best. I tell you what I do like. I really like this. I like that Potter has insisted on taking the final training session tomorrow. He will know he can't possibly implement all these ideas. I like the fact that he wants to take it for the Aston Villa game. I've said that I feel that Potter is slightly too quietly spoken for me. Not there's anything wrong with that. I just think you've got to be a grisly, nasty, robust bastard to deal with West Ham. I think there's so much infighting, there's so much conflict, there's so much nasty stuff. I think you need strength of character and you need to be forthright. And I like that. I like the fact that he's turned around and said, no, I'm taking the team for Aston Villa. I'm taking a training session tomorrow. And by the way, I want an input on transfers. That I like. That does show strength of character. So I'd be very, very pleased if I have that wrong. If I've suggested that maybe he's a little bit, too softly spoken, a little bit too quiet. It's not the softly spoken bit. I do understand that there are plenty of very, very strong-minded people who are softly spoken. I'm not saying the two are linked. I just feel that, he's going to need to have a little bit of that about him to survive at West Ham. But I'll tell you this now, he does have a massive advantage. He's already got Karen Brady on side because she's the one that's really pushed for this. This is Karen Brady's signing. I don't want to be saying it later on and then I've said it all the way along. This appears to be the way. She's really, really pushed for this. She's not going to have... Potter's not going to have at least one person at the club trying to undermine him. I think Sullivan's, has obviously got behind it. So I think I'm hoping that we get the best out of it. I remember when we played Leicester City... Or was it Southampton? Okay, at least Southampton. When we played them, they got a draw against Fulham in the previous game. And Juric was getting credited with it, but he hadn't taken a training session and he wasn't in the dugout, he was in the stands. I might be wrong, but I think even Ruud van Nistelrooy, before we played them, not that it hindered them at all, because they beat us, Leicester City, but Van Nistelrooy might have sat in the stands before the Leicester game. Not so sure about that, very, very sure about the Juric one. A lot of managers do it. I don't like it. I've never liked it. I've always said it. Why are you doing that? Get stuck in. Have some faith in yourself. And I like to see that. And Potter clearly has belief in himself, belief in his methods. There was never any... Look, people say have West Ham really got the players for Graham Potter, right? But... there was a couple of people, the same people that said that, were also saying, we might go to Everton. Well, they can't both be true, because Everton have got even less players suited to Graham Potter's style of football. We have some ball players, make no mistake about it. I know I haven't mentioned Paqueta yet, but it's hard to know what's going to go on with him. It really, really is. I'm looking forward now. I'm looking forward. It's not gone well. West Ham have not done this well at all, but I'm going to get behind Potter now. I honestly fully supportive of it. I'm looking forward to seeing... some good stuff. And I certainly not going to spend... Look, the story's not done with West Ham, with Lopetegui and all the rest of it, but as far as Potter's concerned, until he shows otherwise, he deserves... He's asked for the rest of the season to prove himself. He deserves at least that, and he's certainly going to get that from me. I hope to see some better football, and I'm very, very open to be proven wrong on him. I don't think he's terrible, by the way. I don't think he's terrible. I'm just saying this now because I might be referring back to this video in a few months' time. I'm aware of that. I don't think he's terrible at all. I just think what he did at Brighton, he's almost probably got to do it. Brighton were near the bottom, playing quite crap football under Chris Hughton, but Chris Hughton done a really, really good job. He changed them, and over a period of time, what they do, 16th, 15th, and then 9th. He got a defensive, nasty, grisly team, becoming one of the most attractive football playing teams in the Premier League. So that's what he is. He's not proven anything beyond that for me yet. But maybe, just maybe, that's what West Ham need at the moment. I certainly do think that West Ham right now have got better players than he had during his first couple of seasons at Brighton when he'd taken over from Chris Hughton. I'm not even going to factor in the Chelsea stuff because I don't know enough about it, and I think it was a bit of a madhouse Chelsea when Todd Bowley first took over. So we'll leave that alone. What I'm very interested to see is who he brings with him over a period of time. I'm going to go now because I guess he's going to be announced soon enough. But there you go. Lopetegui's gone. Potter's signed his contract. There's been loads of stuff saying earlier on, even people that have been particularly in the loop saying earlier on, like Fabrizio Romano, historically has been in the loop. Oh, Lopetegui's not, maybe not be sacked. So I don't think he said that, but some people were saying that. And I think Romano was possibly saying that Potter, there's still things to be ironed out. It was not true. The club have mucked up today, but Lopetegui was always going to be sacked, and Potter had already agreed it late last night. So not an awful lot's changed, apart from, I don't know Lopetegui, but possibly quite a decent man has been forced to endure a really horrible day that he probably didn't need to, particularly off the back of what's happened to him in the last couple of weeks. Right, I'll catch up with you tomorrow.